Welcome back to Washington Watch. I'm your host, Tony Perkins. Glad to have you along on this Thursday afternoon. The website, tonyperkins.com. Find out more about today's topics. Our guest also, while you're there, be sure and sign up for my daily update. Keeps you up to date on what's happening here in Washington, D.C., Monday through Friday. Also, if you're on Twitter, at @tperkins. One of the things talking about today all over, Hillary Clinton can run. But with the new revelations regarding the use of her private email server holding classified top secret documents, she can't hide. Look, the conversation has shifted now from not just what was a mistake on her part, but the fact that this could very well be criminal. That's one of the questions she faces moving forward. Mrs. Clinton will be before the Benghazi Select Committee in October. But with these revelations that have come out, that her private server that she had stored at her home contained classified emails and documents, she could find herself answering to a few different congressional committees and criminal investigators. Joining me now with the latest in this is a member of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, the representative from the 6th Congressional District of Florida, Ron DeSantis. Congressman, welcome to Washington Watch.
Hey, Tony. Thanks for having me.
All right, this is an issue you've been focused on in your role on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Let me first just ask you, are you surprised that this was found on her private server?
Not at all, because she made a deliberate choice when she became Secretary of State that she did not want her communication subject to normal congressional oversight, subject to the Freedom of Information Act, and so she set up this private server for that specific purpose, to basically conceal from the public what she was doing, knowing full well that doing that private server wouldn't necessarily expose her communications to a greater risk of being intercepted. And so she made that choice. And there is no way, Tony, you can do the job that she did at that high of level without dealing with sensitive information and, yes, classified information. And it was really a display of recklessness. When I was active duty in the Navy, if I had done what she did, I would have ended up in Fort Leavenworth in the brig, because when we're doing stuff military, even our unclassified communications can't be done in private server. You have your own military CAT card, you put it in the computer, you have security certificates, all that. And then if you want to do secret stuff, you're on an entirely different system called the SIPRNet. And even though I had a top secret clearance, I never sent any communications on any top secret stuff. That is very sensitive. When I was in Iraq, we were in kind of a big tent with the unit, but the room that had the top secret information was heavily fortified, and this would just be something that would be totally outside the bounds for anyone working in military or intelligence communities to do.
Well, Congressman DeSantis, if I talked about the classified documents that I typed up when I was in the Marine Corps, I would date myself because we didn't have a computer. I used the IBM Selectric typewriter, and we had to destroy the carbon paper when we were finished to make sure that there was no trace of those documents. So a little bit of a time frame there. But let me go back to something you said, that these could be intercepted. When you said intercepted, you mean by someone that could be a potential hostile to America, someone who is not a friend of America. That's the interception you were talking about, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, even if you're talking about unclassified communications, when you talk about the nation's chief diplomat, obviously an important national security position, just the day-to-day communications are very valuable for our enemies. And the idea that she had sensitive, classified, indeed even top secret communications going over a very unsecured transom like that, there's just no way that stuff was not intercepted by China or Russia or whatnot. And the way, we deal with it, and, you know this, Tony, when you're talking about classified information, it doesn't even matter if somebody actually intercepted it. The moment it's not protected in the proper way, you have to assume it's been compromised. And so there were examples, when I was in Iraq, if someone lost like a classified hard drive or something, even though the enemy never got it, even though we ended up finding it later, you still assume everything has been compromised. And I think that it's likely that her communications were in fact compromised, but even if they weren't, we know they were sent over an unsecured means of communication.
You're listening to Washington Watch. I'm your host, Tony Perkins, talking with Congressman Ron DeSantis of Florida's 6th Congressional District. He is a member of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Congressman, I want to ask you a question. You know, this is one of, I've lost track of the number of scandals surrounding the Obama administration, whether it's Fast and Furious, whether it's Benghazi. Do you think it was intentional, just the foot dragging that we've seen take place here, that they were hoping that the clock would run out, you guys would forget about this, it would be eclipsed by another scandal, and this thing would be forgotten?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's their goal with all these, with the IRS, with the Benghazi. And, of course, I think Secretary Clinton's emails, I think they give rise to things beyond Benghazi in terms of what could have been compromised for hotspots all over the world. And that's their goal. Now, unfortunately for them, the FBI director, James Comey, is somebody, he's a Republican, and he's been tough on both parties. And so I think he knows that this is something that's a problem. And so I think he's going to look into it very seriously. Now, the question will be, if something is actionable, what does the Justice Department do? Now, when Eric Holder was the Attorney General, I would have that answer for you right now. They would do absolutely nothing with it. I don't know what Loretta Lynch will do, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously she's a Democrat, but I'm hopeful that if we have examples of other people, such as General Petraeus, who've been convicted for doing less, and the FBI does have the goods, that they will treat Hillary like they would treat any other person. Because I don't think you're above the law just because you're a former Secretary of State, former First Lady, and presumptive presidential nominee.
I think you're absolutely right, and justice should not be partisan. It should be dispensed equally regardless of what party may be in power. Congressman, we're up against the break. I want to thank you for joining us here on this Thursday afternoon. Obviously, we're going to be watching this because I know you will be digging deeper into this. So, Congressman DeSantis, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you. God bless. Take care.
All right, folks.